Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we're jumping into intermediate business computing. In the business world, we're swimming in data. It's everywhere. But the real question is, how do you take all that raw information and turn it into a smart decision that actually makes a difference? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today, the crucial journey from data to decision. So, let's start with the big question, right? You're staring at a spreadsheet, just a sea of raw numbers. What do you do with it? How do you transform that wall of data into a persuasive argument, a real business decision that gets things moving? Let's walk through that exact process. Okay, so here's our game plan. It's a pretty standard workflow you'll see everywhere. First, we're going to dig into the data and make it visual. Then, we'll shape it into a polished document. After that, we'll talk about presenting it with some real punch. And finally, we'll see how it all clicks together. All right, let's dive in with step one, analyzing and visualizing data. This is where we get our hands dirty, so to speak, jumping into Excel to find the story that's hiding in plain sight, right there in the numbers. So, one of the first decisions you have to make is table or chart, and they serve totally different purposes. Think of it this way. Tables are for the details. They're meant to be read when someone needs the exact, precise numbers. But charts, they're meant to be understood in a split second. They show you the trends, the patterns, the big picture, all at a glance. Now, let's talk about the real engine behind any smart spreadsheet, the cell reference. It's basically an address for your data. Instead of hard-coding a number like 50 into your formula, you just point to the cell's address, like A1. Why is this such a big deal? Because if the value in A1 ever changes, your formula updates automatically. It's what makes your spreadsheet a living, dynamic tool instead of a static, error-prone calculator. And there are two flavors of cell references you've got to know. First, there's the relative reference. It's flexible. When you copy a formula, it cleverly adjusts itself to the new spot, perfect for repeating calculations down a column. But then you have the absolute reference with those little dollar signs. This one is locked down. It's like dropping an anchor. No matter where you copy the formula, it always points back to that one specific cell. This is absolutely crucial for things like a fixed tax rate or a commission percentage. Getting this right is a total game changer for building powerful spreadsheets. Okay, so once you're ready to make things visual, picking the right chart type is everything. It all depends on the story you're trying to tell. If you're showing parts of a whole, like how a budget is split up, a pie chart is your best friend. If you're comparing different items against each other, go for a bar or column chart. And if you want to show how something has changed over time, you guessed it, the line chart is the way to go. But what if you want to make your data really speak to you? Well, that's where these tools come in. Conditional formatting is like a highlighter for your spreadsheet. It automatically colors cells that meet certain rules, making key numbers jump off the page. Sorting is simple but powerful. It lets you organize everything, say from highest to lowest sales. And filtering is your focus tool. It lets you hide all the noise and zoom in on just the specific data you need to see. Okay, so we've dug through the data and we've got our insights. Now what? Well, it's time to build a story around them. This next step is all about crafting a professional document and structuring our narrative using Word. When it comes to looking professional, it's often the small details that make the biggest impact. Take paragraph alignment. Left align is your go-to for most of your text. It's easy to read. Center alignment makes your titles and headings pop. Right align is perfect for things like dates in a header. And justify, that gives you that super clean, sharp-edged look you see in textbooks and newspapers. I've got a huge pro tip for you, a real efficiency booster, the Format Painter. Seriously, this tool is like a magic wand for your documents. Find some text that's formatted exactly how you want it, click the little paintbrush icon, and then just paint that formatting onto any other text. It guarantees consistency and saves you so much time. And if you want to guarantee consistency across the board, templates are the answer. A template is basically a pre-designed blueprint. It's got the layout, the fonts, the company logo, everything already set up. This means every single document looks like it came from the same professional source. It's a lifesaver for brand consistency. And here's where it all starts to connect. You can take those awesome charts and tables you made in Excel and drop them right into your Word report. Suddenly, you've got this seamless, data-driven story where your words are backed up by cold, hard, visual facts. All right, before we call it done, let's add the final polish. We're talking about headers and footers for page numbers and titles, using page breaks to make sure your charts don't get split in awkward places, adding citations if you need to, and maybe even a watermark like draft or confidential. These are the little touches that really elevate your document. And now for the grand finale, presenting with impact. We've done the analysis, we've written the report, but none of that matters if we can't sell the idea. This is where we step onto the stage, using PowerPoint to engage our audience and, most importantly, persuade them. First, let's get two terms straight that people often mix up: transitions and animations. Transitions happen between your slides. They're the effects that move you from one idea to the next, like a fade or a push. Animations happen on the slide itself. They bring your text, your charts, your images to life, controlling the flow of information and directing your audience's eyes. I mean, we've all heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And you know what? In a presentation, it's 100% true. Visuals grab attention, they make complex ideas simple, and they stick in people's minds way longer than a block of text ever will. And luckily, PowerPoint gives you a whole multimedia toolkit to play with. You've got pictures, obviously, but also shapes and arrows to show relationships. There's smart art, which can turn a boring bullet list into a slick, professional diagram, word art for jazzy titles, and don't forget, you can even embed video and audio to make things really dynamic. Here's another game-changing feature, the Slide Master. Think of it as the master blueprint for your entire presentation. If you want to add your company logo to every slide or change the main font, you don't do it 50 times. You do it once in the Slide Master, and boom, it updates everywhere automatically. It is the ultimate tool for consistency. Okay, here is probably the most important tip I can give you for presenting. Your slides are for your audience. They are not your teleprompter. Keep them clean, simple, and visual. All of your detailed notes, your stats, your script, that all goes into the notes pane. It's your secret weapon, visible only to you. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture here. We've talked about 3 different tools, but they aren't meant to be used in isolation. They're part of one integrated toolkit designed to help you put it all together. So to wrap it all up, here's the workflow. It starts in Excel, that's where you do your analysis and find the insights. Then you move to Word, that's for the formal documentation where you build a detailed story. And you finish in PowerPoint, that's for the big presentation where you persuade people to see things your way. Analysis, documentation, presentation, that's the flow. And that's our deep dive into this incredibly powerful business computing workflow. We've gone all the way from raw numbers to a persuasive presentation. So now, with all these tools in your back pocket, the only real question left is, what story is your data just waiting to tell?